Coming up on this week's episode of Down the Road, a history of Fairfield through the eyes of the Golden Stags. We'll sit down with Amanda Johnson in the Massachusetts State House and delve into her spotlight in politics. Former CEO of Burger King, Jeff Campbell, Skypes in to give us priceless tips and advice. Fairfield's Dolan School of Business grads come together to reflect upon the challenges of Wall Street. And lastly, we'll meet Kevin Tracy, a FoxNews.com producer who does it all. All this and more coming up next on Down the Road. Hello, I'm Chelsea Whitmore, and welcome to our first episode of Down the Road. I'll be taking you through the lives of many Fairfield University alumni. Fairfield has grown from 303 undergraduate male students admitted in 1942 to the 5,000 undergraduate and graduate students admitted in 2012. We have found some of the most successful, admired, and inspirational alumni to share their stories. Let's first take a look at the Golden Stags, a group of men who graduated 50 years or more ago. These pioneers had a passion to transform and create campus life beyond the classroom.
When I arrived here, actually I arrived here in the late 40s because I also went to the prep. The first classroom building was called Berkman's Hall. And we were the occupants, all the freshmen of the prep were in the first floor, and the entire university was on the second and third floor.
So the freshmen in high school and the freshmen in university were all in the same building. So they were sort of like our big brothers, and we had some lasting friendships that have gone on for years.
Fairfield U opened up in 1947. I have three older brothers. They all went to Fairfield Prep, and I went to Fairfield Prep. And then when Fairfield U opened up, they went to Fairfield U, and that's where I wanted to go. My father said to me once, you can go to Holy Cross or Boston College or those places. I said, I don't want to go there. I want to go to Fairfield.
The dress code wasn't totally different. You had to wear a shirt and tie. You had to be at class on time. I think the classes were more scheduled than they are now. They were almost like high school hours from 9 in the morning until 3 or 4 in the afternoon.
The university was $300 a year, and the multiplier from 1955 until 2010 or 2011 is 8 for inflation. So that would be 300 times 8, it's only $2,400. And I'm talking tuition only, and it's right now perhaps $20,000. So that's a huge difference.
I think that, it was being part of the growth of this school. We were here, we was only 11 years old when we came in. So there was a lot of new things going on here. It was a new experience. This was a forest when we came in.
We had some rather spectacular social events. There was the Winter Carnival, which was held in February.
The Glee Club had about 80 men in it. Now that's out of a population of, maybe 400 or 500. Now today you have 100, and you have boys and girls, and a population of, 3,000 or something like that.
The big thing was flag football, where we would have a handkerchief in our pockets, and we would go to Alumni Field.
I think the Jesuit education clicks in sometimes 8 to 10 years after you get out of school.
I guess I still go to church on Sunday. I still lead the life that I learned here at Fairfield. I've encouraged my children that way, and they've encouraged their grandchildren that way.
One thing that they taught us was, in order to receive, you have to give.
The commitment they've made to creating this kind of an educational environment for kids is tremendous.
Being a part of the first Ignatian residential college helped transition Amanda Johnson from shy girl to debate girl. She now works hard at the Massachusetts State House as the legislative and budget director for for State Senator Jennifer L. Flanagan.
Each morning in Boston, Massachusetts, Amanda Johnson shines behind closed doors, assisting her state representative follow bills, write talking points, and manage the budget. College Democrats, a small but passionate group of students at Fairfield, was a community Amanda found a home in.
I think the people that were involved in College Dems with me really inspired me a lot because they were really interested in what I was interested in. And I think finding your niche and finding the people that really are passionate about what you're passionate about really opens up a whole new world for you. We get to volunteer a lot at events off campus, which was really fun. The Connecticut Democrats have a big dinner every year that we went to more than once just to help out.
Politics has always been an interest of Johnson's, but Fairfield transformed it into her passion.
I think once I was at Fairfield during College Dems and stuff, I did get to meet more people that had kind of worked in the field, so I think that's something that's important. My mom bought me a book when I was in the 4th grade about how you elect a president, so I mean, it was always something that I was interested in.
Being a part of the first Ignatian residential college played a large role in her undergraduate education.
Actually, Ignatian, I really am glad I did it. I was a shy kid in college. I was about 2.5 hours from home. And, in hindsight, it was a great decision because I was a little bit of a homebody. My first year, I had fun, but I was always ready to go home. I think Ignatian really helped me, make some more friends. Not that I didn't have good friends where I was, but just really feel like a part of a community.
Johnson has no regrets about attending Fairfield.
I am really glad I went to Fairfield because I feel like the community and the size of the school was really right for me. I really appreciate that even though I was a kid who knew what I wanted to do or thought I knew I wanted to do, I really had to take a lot of different classes. And now looking back, I really enjoy that I had a very full education.
After Fairfield, finding a job wasn't easy, but Johnson was determined.
I graduated in the spring in May, and I moved home to Lunenburg, which is about an hour outside of Boston, with my parents. And politics is kind of a weird thing. It's not really something you look in the want ad. You know what I mean? There's nothing that says oh, if you want to work in politics, apply here. I was starting to think about what I was going to do and everything, and it was just kind of a random, someone my mother knew who knew this gentleman who was the mayor of Worcester at the time, who's now the lieutenant governor, and mentioned that he might need someone to work for him on his campaign. It was just sort of one of those things, being in the right place at the right time. They were like, will you work really hard and get paid no money? And I was like, sure, that sounds great.
She loves her job and where she is now, but thinks about her future in politics.
It's a rush. It's fun, it's a lot of work, it's pretty intense, but I do enjoy that sort of part of it, the organizing and that kind of stuff. But I also really enjoy the policy, and that's what I really like about my job right now. People always ask, would you ever run for office? And I feel like what I do now is I'm the last person she talks to, right? And I don't have to have the pressure of people knowing who I am. For me, I get to, help make the little policy decisions and, suggest to her what's best, but not really have that glare.
From homebody to future politics superstar, Johnson has come a long way.
Really, when I graduated, I knew what I liked, I knew what I wanted, I had really good friends, and I felt really more confident in myself and less like a homebody. I was far enough away that I felt like an adult, and I really think a lot of that, the stuff I did at Fairfield helped nurture that in a way that wasn't overly scary.
Jeff Campbell, an icon in the franchise industry, is one of our very own Fairfield University alumni. The Jesuit values and psychology he learned here helped him to become a success. He Skypes in to share words of wisdom and years of experience. Can you just start by introducing yourself, who you are, and what you do?
I think I'm here today because I'm a 1965 graduate of Fairfield University. And these days, I'm chairman of the Chairman's Roundtable here in San Diego and the Brinker Executive in Residence at San Diego State University.
What was your Fairfield experience like?
Fairfield, to me, seemed to be a very human scale campus where the opportunity was there if you were interested in it to do a lot. It was really at Fairfield that I got to flex my leadership muscles a little bit, probably for the first time.
What's it like to be the CEO of multiple notable companies?
One of the things that was always fun, in quotes, about running a company like Burger King was the franchise community. And before I was CEO, I was regional vice president for the New York region, which was about 300 of the restaurants and a group of the toughest franchisees in the system. And I used to tell people that it was the best training in the world to be mayor of New York City.
Can you share some advice and tips on how students at Fairfield can become successful?
I ran into a guy at Burger King. He's the guy that actually promoted me to president of Burger King USA, and then when he left, made me chairman and CEO. And that was a gentleman named Norman Brinker. Norman was the guy that first got it through my thick skull that listening is a better way of leading than talking. If you're really sincerely interested in the other person, you'll get amazing yields out of it. If you're looking to be opportunistic about it, you'll fail. Internships, awesome. The more real world experience you can get as early as possible is great. Look for mentors. People my age and even younger are happy, not reluctant, but happy to give advice and counsel to younger folks. It's a big thrill for us to do that. If you can find yourself in a good growth field and then produce personally, the opportunities are going to inevitably be there for you to advance. You have to be part of the solution. You can't be part of the common culture out there in business. You've got to be the ones working on a higher set of principles, on a better set of values. You're going to be the leaders of the future, and you've got to build that. You've got to come out of here with that value set intact, and that's what's going to change business.
With Occupy Wall Street becoming such a hot topic over the last few months, Fairfield University held a discussion of challenges and values in the business workplace. We got a chance to head into Manhattan and hear from these young alumni.
Fairfield alumni in the finance industry gathered together to collaborate at Trinity Church on Wall Street in February of 2012. Being young on Wall Street used to mean you had it all, but now being under 30 in the financial world is losing its glam. Occupy Wall Street, combined with the global financial crisis in 2008, has caused the once glorified industry to become an evil villain in the eyes of the people. Many undergraduate students may soon feel the burden.
I majored in international business. I think I had a concentration in Asian studies because I studied abroad in China for like a semester, and then I took Japanese for I think 2 years.
I graduated in 2005, major was finance and information systems.
I graduated from Fairfield in 2010, and I was an economics major.
In 2002 from Fairfield University, management and marketing.
I graduated in 2001, an accounting major.
I wanted to work on Wall Street and thought I would be a good fit for working in finance from a personality standpoint, as well as I would say a work ethic, interest in markets, and I would say hunger to do well for myself.
I had my job end of junior year because at Fairfield they invite the accounting firms to come on.
I ended up having an internship at Goldman Sachs my junior year after I came back from China.
Fall semester of senior year, I actually got an offer.
I may have heard of like Goldman Sachs, but I never really knew what it was, like what they did, until I met the Fairfield graduate named Kevin Shea that literally walked me through like, hey, this is what finance is, this is what Wall Street is.
I took the BU Capstone courses at Fairfield, and there you got to see finance, marketing, and management, and that's where I first learned about finance.
I'm not on Wall Street. I actually work for Maricel Incorporated, which is a visual communications company. We do everything from large format printing to graphic retouching to creative services, and I work on their finance and strategic planning team.
Recently, I've resigned from the financial industry to pursue my own business, because I think that'll give me flexibility.
I think the people that I met at Fairfield definitely impacted my career path.
I really look for a very holistic approach in a lot of different things.
Martin Luther King once said, you don't judge the character of a man, but like what he does when lights are on him and like things are going well, right? You judge the character of a person when their back's against the wall. And I feel like for these past like 3 or 4 years, anybody involved in this industry has had their back against the wall.
It's really, really important that you're thinking all the time, really what is right.
You're supposed to ask yourself 3 questions. Who am I, whose am I, and like who am I called to be? And I feel like every single day you kind of bump into those questions, particularly down here.
Getting together and talking about the issues are the way that you make them second nature.
I think especially, for our generation, I think it's just good to get together and know that people are facing similar challenges to what you're facing.
I think it's really interesting how you find Fairfield people everywhere. I mean, I was just talking to people about how we all live in the same neighborhood.
I'm curious to learn more about how other people who've had their backs against the wall with the same type of Jesuit education have responded to the crisis.
We all look out for each other. We may be a small school, but there's a lot of us out there, and we all really try to help each other out.
2005 graduate Kevin Tracy got his start right here at the Ham Channel. His involvement at the Media Center led him to his passion and current career choice at Fox News Channel in New York. Let's take a look at how every morning he transforms into a one-man control room.
This is a quirky process.
Kevin Tracy spends his day working as a one-man band. He is the producer and editor for FoxNews.com Live, but his responsibilities range far beyond just that.
What a technical director does is they run the control room. They're the main switchboard for everything that goes on in the control room. Normally, if you see one of the bigger control rooms for one of the main shows that we have on the channel, there's 10 to 15 people in the room. One's doing audio, one's switching cameras, one's doing graphics, one's making sure all the elements are rolled in. Then you have, the actual crew from the show, the senior producer, the line producer, and various different production assistants. I kind of take all of them and roll them into one person. We have a control room that's set up so that I can do the audio board, switch cameras, do graphics, roll in elements, answer phones, check in people over IFB, and route in all the different satellites that we have, all by one person. It's taken a lot to learn how to balance everything, but every day's an adventure.
Television has always been a passion of his.
I was able to have some television production experience in high school. Late my freshman year, they started a television studio, and that summer I joined up, and I basically fell in love with live production. We would do a live show every morning or every couple mornings throughout the week, and I fell in love with it from there. And then, that was one of my main things to look for in a college.
He got his start at Fairfield's new media program, where his involvement shines as his greatest memory.
When I came in, it was just a minor. It actually became a major, I want to say a quarter of the way through my senior year. Luckily, by that time, I had taken so many classes, I was actually able to become a major and double major. I mean, there was such talent coming into Fairfield and joining this program that I'm really amazed to see where it's gone now, and especially with things like Cinefest and all the great student films that are shown there.
Ham Channel, Fairfield's student-run television station, was Tracy's favorite community.
Primarily, I was involved with the Ham Channel and everything going on up at the Media Center. I joined the Ham Channel my freshman year. I was with it all the way through senior year. The Ham Channel definitely was my home away from home, away from home. I spent a good deal of my 4 years in the Media Center, hanging out at the Ham Channel, working on projects, or even just going up there to literally see people and hang out.
Tracy's Fairfield education continues to play a large role in his life and career today.
Definitely going to a Jesuit university, it just helped instill in me more my faith and my values through that. And that has actually come into play in my life, and it's what drives me and focuses me in what I want to pursue and how I want to go about doing it. As far as, the liberal education that you get there, the well-rounded, from math to science and the languages, I mean, it all comes into play. You always think oh, I'll never use algebra or calculus when I grow up. Yeah, think again. Because especially working here where I got to figure out time codes and various things like that, I use math and various different things I learned in a Jesuit college every single day.
His strong connections with Father Jim Mazik, the director of the Media Center, led him to where he is today.
Eventually, I spoke with Father Mazik, and he put me in contact with somebody here at Fox. They took my resume. A couple days later, I got called for an interview, and then a couple days after that, they offered me a job working on Geraldo Rivera's show. It just happened to be that when I got my job at Fox, I was very frustrated with where I was, editing those videos, and I just was almost venting a little bit, but really just talking with Father Mazik, and came up in conversation, and that led to where I am now. So don't be afraid to be frustrated with where you're at, or if you don't have a job yet, be frustrated with that, because you never know. If you're just happen to be talking to someone about, yeah, I'm looking for this or that, they might know someone and you never thought they would. Always branch out, look anywhere you can to try to find people that could help you get in where you need to, and just keep an eye on all the job postings everywhere.
Well, that's all we've got for this episode of Down the Road. For those who shared their stories of passion, enjoyment, and success, we thank you. We'll see you here next time on Down the Road.